Hi y'all, this is Brandy and I'm here today to give you an intro in response to Tea and Tarot on Tuesdays with V from V Love and Crystals and Tarot. V Love and Crystals? I don't know, I'll link her. So I have a very long A to Z that was in response to the Hermit's Cave, so this one is going to be a very simple intro. You can find a lot of information about me on this channel. I do like doing VRs mostly because for this channel I don't have too much going on. I do have a separate tarot readings channel and I do have a tarot reading business. My Fiverr business has been really busy lately. People have been crazy looking for answers, or I guess maybe they're just home so they have time to put in questions. I'm not sure. It's been a lot of fun though. I do read tarot and oracle. I've been doing it for a very, very long time. I'm also really into crystals. I started that when I was like 7. I went to it wasn't exactly a metaphysical shop. It was in Cambria, California. I was 7 or 8. We used to go there. There was a store that had it might even have been called the Tin Soldier. It was our favorite store to go to when we would go on vacation in Cambria. And gorgeous town, gorgeous area. We had family near there. And they had the whole front of the store was little tiny tin soldiers. All handmade, all hand painted. Amazing. I don't even like tin soldiers that much, but it was amazing to me. It was crazy art. There was another store in town that was all dollhouse stuff. You've kind of seen a theme with the miniatures, I'm sure. I love miniature things. In art, I have a tendency to really like doing pointillism and drawing things in miniature myself. So we were in Cambria, and I don't know why my mom went into this shop. I don't know if she needed incense or what, because that was something in my house that we did a lot. But we went in, and originally I had thought I would like to get a tarot deck. Like I picked one up off the shelf, and my mom was like, okay, you can get that. It was just your standard kind of tarot deck in a shop that's not metaphysical, just happened to have it. But what drew me is the whole back of the store was full of crystals, you know, trays everywhere with all the different kinds of crystals. And for some reason, and I tend to shop this way anyway, but I walked back there and there's this one cluster set of crystals. And I remember exactly what it looked like to this day. I have no idea at this point what kind of crystals it was. It might have been a set of quartz. It was like a tri or quatrepoint. It could have been selenite. I'm not sure. I really don't know, because you know how memory is funny. And I remember it being clear or white colored, but it could have had some pink in there. It was terminated in a lot of spots. I just know that. And in my little tiny 7-year-old hand, it was huge. And I walked into this store. It wasn't even in the front or anything. It was like on a shelf. And I looked at this store full of all this stuff, and it just stood out. And I was like, oh, I felt so drawn to this crystal, this rock. And I was like, Mom, I need to get this. And it was very expensive, I guess. I'm not sure. My family didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it could have been completely practical price-wise, but for me, it was very expensive. You know, I'm 7. Barbies were expensive, you know what I mean? Like, and my mom said, let's wait, and if you still want it, we'll come back and get it. We were coming back in a few months to the area. I was devastated. But I continued to, I would ruminate on this crystal. I always remember, I still remember it to this day. And we ended up going back to Cambria a few months later. And I harassed my mom as only a child can do. We have to go back to the store. We have to go back to the store, see if it's still there. If it's still there, I'm still gonna get it. Da, 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 da. And yeah, it was actually in the same place, and it was still there. Everything around it had changed or been moved, and the store owner was real funny because he came out. He was teaching me all about all different kinds of crystals. He was very excited that I was interested. I remember him being a little bit boring. I was 7. Talking about stuff I didn't really care about. And then he said, it's really interesting you want this crystal. I've had lots of people look at it, but nobody buy it. And everything around it has been bought. He said, this must be yours. And he ended up giving my mom a great deal on it because he just was convinced that in some fashion I needed to have this crystal. I had that for a very, very long time, and I've moved a lot in my life. I don't know what happened to it. I think it may have been put in some storage that I lost that got sold because I couldn't keep up the payments, but I'm really not sure. But I had it for a really long time, and that started my journey into learning about crystals. I researched a lot. I read a ton about them. I didn't really own that many. My mom had a lot. But yeah, so that's my crystal story, and that was also the beginning of my tarot journey, because I did get that deck and I did learn how to use it. It seemed like a game to me. It wasn't something that I used for divination. It wasn't something I used with my friends. It was just something that I had, and I like learned what the stuff meant, and kind of how you would a 52 deck of playing cards, you know. I didn't really use it much, and it got lost somewhere along the way. I think when I moved in high school, I don't actually know. And I don't even remember what kind of deck it was, honestly. And then I have acquired different decks over my life through different scenarios, and I started using them for divination in college when I had more time that I could spend on them. I had quite a few friends in college that also had tarot decks, some that used Ouija boards, some that used pendulums, different things. I have used a Ouija board in my life. I will not do that anymore. I had some extreme situations that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. So I do not use Ouija boards for divination or for communication any longer. And I am clairaudient, except when I ignore it, which is always a bad thing. Should never ignore it. And what else? I really like oracle decks. I'm very particular about my tarot decks. I recently bought this tarot deck. This one. I went to the store. I wasn't looking for a tarot deck. I was actually looking for an oracle deck. And this deck was sitting there. This isn't something that I ever would have picked. It's just not. It's just... this is the High Priestess in that deck, and it just doesn't speak to me at all. I can show you one that does. This is the Golden Nouveau that just came out, and this deck speaks to me in a way. Okay, this High Priestess is what speaks to me, and so honestly, it's kind of a bias, okay, because my initials are BJ, or at least they used to be. It's my middle initial. My last initial is K, so it's BJ, and then she's got the Torah. She's got the moon. I'm a Cancer. I love that she's got the moon. I love the cross here. I'm very esoteric, and I've researched a lot of religions in my life, and I just love that representation of knowledge with the Torah and the cross right there next to each other. I love the blue down here that could be space or could be water. I love the pillars. She's right in the middle of the pillars. I don't like this has the 2 pillars. Right? You can see them. Boink, boink, right there, right there. My fingers won't stretch that far. But I love that crowning over her head. It could be the moon or just that full circle. This has the moon phases on the top of her head, and they're shiny. But it just doesn't speak to me as much. And when I saw that deck, I was like, But for some reason, I was totally moved to buy that deck, and I was deliberately not listening. This is the people behind me that want to talk to me. I was not listening, and I ended up walking through the store for like 20-25 minutes, which is a very long time for me, and I kept coming back to this deck and and I was like, fine, I will get the deck. I have had the best readings with this deck. I opened it, and immediately it was resonating with me. I really didn't have to spend that much time with it before everything was just flowing. It was amazing. And so, yeah, I have really interesting stories like that where I've tried to fight against certain things in my life and it doesn't go well. It is part of my astrological chart though, that that's just my destiny. Anyway, this was really fun. I thought I would just jump in and make an intro video for you guys. If you're interested, my tarot reading channel is Tinks Tarot. I'll put it in the bottom and I'll link my Fiverr account too, just in case you want to see that for whatever reason, see how legit I am. My tarot channel, I've been trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, because I'm not one of those people that has a setup that's good for a camera constantly, and I'm constantly doing different kinds of readings. So figuring out what would work for a YouTube channel is actually a challenge for me. A lot of people don't show their face, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. So I'm kind of doing a combo, and I've also started working with the Instagram game, so we'll see. That's my journey, that's my adventure. Thanks V for putting together this VR response and playlist. It's really fun to watch all the different people and see everybody's responses. I've also enjoyed your co-op things that you've done with different tarot readers, so keep it up and I appreciate you. Thanks guys, have a great day. Enjoy your Coronamageddon.